Hi guys, the 7250 is back for part 2. I took the cassette basket out. Whoops, I just lost my spring and everything. So I'm going to take the, where'd my spring go? Yeah, I'll find it. But anyway, so I'm going to put a new belt on the cassette housing, and we're going to put a new belt on the loading motor, and we're also going to do a reel table service, meaning that we're going to take the spools off, clean the post, and re-oil them. Because the old lubricant has dried up, obviously, and this is a customer's machine, so I want to make sure that I do the very best job that I can do. We got to do a really good job on servicing this machine. I did replace a few capacitors and still haven't fixed the issue with the record. I'm gonna need a service manual in order to find out where I need to go, because I don't know if the record failure is on this board, is it on this board, or it could be on this board over here, and I could be just sitting there just wasting capacitors. So you know, I need to find out where exactly the record area is, and because I know it's going to be bad caps, but I'm not going to invest in buying a service manual, because these things, the service manual is something I'll have to get at a later date. I just don't have a service manual, so we really can't do the we can't fix the record issue unless I have a manual, because the schematics will tell me where the record area is and where the playback is, you know, because there's a board that controls just the recording aspect. So this particular machine, I don't, and the customer doesn't want me to do anything except for make it play. He's made it very clear that he does not care about fixing the record issue, and so I'm just going to have to live with that, and maybe on another video later on down the line we'll find one that has that issue, and we'll get a service manual and do it. But service manuals can be very, very expensive. I think the service manual, the cheapest I found, was like $40, I think. So it was like, yeah, I would be willing to spend $20 on a schematic, but, you know, it's just, unfortunately, you know, all the customer wants, he just wants to be able to play. So, and he is a YouTube viewer, so he will be watching this video, because he wants to know, he wants to see what I've done to it, and which is understandable, because you're paying me good money to repair this, so you want to be able to see what I've done to it, so I can understand that. And also, he may want to watch it just to learn how to do this himself. Like if he had if this machine later on down the road had an issue, or he had another machine that had an issue, he could look at this video and he could learn, and he might even be able to fix it himself. So anyway, so right now we're just going to do the servicing. We'll replace the belts. Let me show you the belts. I actually ordered 2 sets, but they only sent me the one, so I have to contact them and find out why. But I placed 2 orders of these because I actually have one of these that I'm considering buying off eBay. So, and I also like to have a stock of them. You know, Studio Sound Electronics is who I got these from. So these are new. They're gonna go in. Okay. Next thing we're gonna do, now we've already got a brand new tire on there, but we're gonna take the reels off and clean the post and put some new oil on there. We're gonna put some grease on that worm gear there, and we're gonna do some cleaning on the tape tensioner. We're gonna get that. This one's moving pretty freely now because I've cleaned it once before, but I'm going to clean it again to make sure that this tape guide is nice and free and moving properly. Now I'm going to apply a little bit of rubber renew to the pinch roller. The pinch roller looks like it's in pretty decent shape, so I think just putting some rubber renew will soften the rubber up a little bit. And of course, when we get these reels taken off and oiled, they're going to perform good as well. But we need to take this whole assembly apart. So I got to take the plastic, these white plastic gears have to come completely out in order to get the reels off. I'm also going to take the idler tire back out, clean that post, and put a little oil on there, and that will fully service this machine. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so we have everything out, and all of these posts need to be cleaned. I've got some Q-tips that I'm going to use here. Okay. Basically, you want to just clean the old lubricant off of the post, because this is, you know, you can see, I could see yellowing on there already, and that's because of the old lubricant. And same thing with these, same thing. Everything that those parts move on has to be cleaned and then oiled. So we're going to put a little bit of oil on there, and you can see that, some of that dirt right there already. So by doing this, you're getting rid of the old dried out lubricant. You're going to put oil, we're going to put 3-in-1 oil on here, and we're just going to do real good cleaning. This thing has been cleaned already, so I don't have to worry about this. But basically I did the same thing with this. You just clean the post that it rides on, and then you put it back together. So this is all going to be all done, and this is how you want to do it. You just try to do the best job that you can. I'm going to clean the pulleys and stuff that the belt rides up against. You know, we're gonna just do a nice cleaning and just really get this dirt, dust, and grime off of the areas. So, and I'm just gonna clean the dust and stuff off of here too. So I just want to get this nice and clean and get this, you know, so that when we put oil on it, that it's going to re-lubricate everything, and these will just spin really nice and free. So, you know, in this one, this just moves back and forth as well. You see this one? This is the same thing. You gotta take this off as well. And once you know, take this off, clean the post, put some oil on it. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. So once I'm done with this, and I'm gonna put it all back together, and that's gonna do the servicing for the reel table motor. I'm also going to pull the capstan completely out, clean the post on the capstan as well. So basically I'm just doing a really good thorough job of making sure that this machine is going to work, and it's going to work for a long time. So once I get all this stuff done, this is what you need to do in order to get your machine serviced properly. This is the proper way to do it. Now, there's also the pinch roller. You can take that off as well if you want to. I don't need to take it off because I'm just going to put rubber renew on it. It looks really good. I've inspected it, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, I've already re-lubed the, see how nice that pulls back now? Look at that. That's what cleaning will do. And then re-lubricating, re-oiling. So these need oil, okay? The grease that you want to put on is going to be on this worm gear back here. Now, you want to apply this particular cassette housing uses plastic gears, and you want to put a little bit of grease on that as well. So put a little grease on the gears for the cassette housing too. That is one thing that I did not do a video on, but I did do that. So that's basically what you need to do in order to get these things to work again. Now, granted, you're probably not going to have the head amplifier issue that I had, or the other electrical issues that I did, but most of the time, the Sanyos, they don't need capacitors. A lot of times they're just needing to be serviced with new belts and new tires. This particular model uses one tire, so and then you gotta clean your drum, upper and lower drum, clean all your guides, everything. You want to do this, and this is going to ensure that you have a proper serviced machine that is going to last a very long time. Doing these preventive maintenance things, doing this, the servicing and stuff, oh, looks like my spring came off on that again. But anyway, so basically this is what we need to do. Okay, so I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna have it all back together, and then we're going to start putting the machine back together. So once this machine goes back together, it'll go back together permanently. I will no longer need to go in here. But like I said, with the record issue, I'm going to contact the owner and ask him about it and see if he's willing to spend a little bit more money and get the record function working. If he doesn't want to fix the record issue, then we'll find another one of these that has this problem, and we will get a service manual, and we will I'll probably just buy a service manual anyway, because the schematic is what you need. So anyway, guys, I will see you later. and we'll cut back in after I get all this done, and then we'll kind of button everything back up, and I don't think I won't need to take the dust shield off again, so we'll put the head shielding on here, and because I've already recapped the head amplifier. This board could have the issue on it. It could be this board, or it could be one of the boards on the bottom. So we will be back. Okay, well, it's much later. I had dinner, so I ate that, took a little break, and then I put it all back together. So everything has been cleaned and re-lubricated, and the only thing I got left to do is put the top back on for the cassette housing, and take the grease and put a little bit of grease on that gear. So that's what I'm gonna do right now, and then I'm gonna basically put everything back together. I'll put the shielding back on and everything, do a cleaning of the tape path again, and this thing should be almost ready to go back to the customer. Of course, there's a few things I still gotta do to it. I'm going to, I had to order some capacitors. There are a couple of different areas where I didn't have the right capacitor, so I had to put something else in temporarily to see if the problem was fixed, which is what it was fixed. So anyway, so there's still a few things that I need to do, like replace caps, and then there was like 2 caps I gotta put in, but and then I'm gonna try to see if maybe I can see where the issue is, where it's recording in black and white, and I'm gonna try to see if I can maybe get a little bit of information off the internet and see if maybe somebody might know where I need to go, because it literally could be, it could be this circuit board that needs caps changed, or it could be this one. The one underneath is actually for the drum servo, so it's either going to be on this board or it's going to be on this board. And I think what I might do is take the shielding off and check these capacitors in this area. I think that maybe they're because this does, that's the only other place that I didn't really check. But yeah, I'm still gonna do some, I want to do searching and get this thing back to 100%, but at least, you know, right now it is a 100% functioning Betamax. It's functioning. I just, like I said, there was 2 caps that well, I'm going to put them in, but they were not the proper capacitors. But now I'm going to put the right ones in. So that's pretty much all I got to do, and put those in, obviously, and then check some other capacitors to see if maybe I can get the, if I had a service manual, it'd make it a whole lot easier. I just looked online, they run around $30. to buy them online. I just think that's just too much money to spend, you know. But then again, it might be worth spending because I do run across these models quite often. So, and I do know that there's a lot of these that have that same issue with the record. So that's pretty much what I'm gonna do. So right now I'm gonna put the top back on, clean and grease that worm gear, clean the tape path again, and put the shield on it. And then the only thing I have to do is work on the circuit board. I won't have to. I can put the mechanical part back because I will not need to get back into the mechanical area, because mechanically this is working 100%. So I like this machine. So I like this particular model, and if I can get one again, I'm gonna get one, because these things, they do sell for a decent price. I obviously have to purchase these things for under $100, and then I sell them for either $150 to $200 range. I like to try to provide people with a not just a working Betamax, but one that's cheaper. You know, if somebody wants one that, I can give you a good price. Under $150 is a pretty good price for something that has been not only repaired, but has been overhauled. So I do enjoy this thing, but it does play back tapes beautifully. Well, now that we got it all back together, let me we'll put this. Let's see, I need to put my little top back on. Yeah, I need to get this top back on too. There we go. That way, when I put the cassette in, I don't have to worry about that spring popping off. But then again, if it's on, you guys can't see the mechanism, so we'll just leave that off so you guys can see the mechanism. There we go. Pretty dang good, actually. Pretty dang good. And it's moving beautifully, so let's stop it. See how nice and smooth? It's got really good rewind. So uh-oh. What happened to my cassette basket. Yeah, I'm gonna change the cassette basket because this one's having some issues, so. Hey guys, this is the Betamax Man here, and I'm gonna show you. This thing was having issues with record, where it was recording in black and white. I think I've fixed the issue. So we're going to test it out here in just a couple of minutes. But anyway, so the capacitors that were leaking were these two up here on top, and there was two down here that was leaking. And they actually were leaking where the trace, there was not much of a trace left, just barely was able to get that new one soldered in. Half of the trace, half of the lead was gone, and that was due to the capacitors that were leaking. And this does have something to do with the chroma processing board. So I was looking online to try to see if I could see any like service manuals or anything. I really couldn't find anything. But then I started to look, and I looked at the some of the shielding on this thing. I looked and I seen these little colors, these different colors here, and I thought, I wonder if there's any bad capacitors in this underneath here, because I was checking them over here. There was no bad caps. All these caps were fine. So I was really discouraged in thinking that I wasn't going to be able to repair it, but I think I have. So let's go ahead. We're going to get a tape in here. I'm going to put a tape in. We're going to hit record. We're going to record off of a movie. I think what I'll do is record off of, I'll just do a recording off of a movie, but what I'll do is show half of the picture, because I think that if I show half of the picture, well, but then see, you even got colored ones here too. But so let's just get a movie, and we'll put it in, and let's just see if we can get this thing to work. Let's do, let's see, yeah, let's do The Mummy Returns. I like that show. That's a good movie. So we'll do this. We'll record off of this, and then I'll have to show like half of the image. I'm not going to be able to show the whole image. Okay, so I've got it in the player here, and let's load the disc. So I've got the output of my Toshiba HD DVD player going into the input of the Sanyo Super Beta Hi-Fi machine. And there is one last, I hope this fixes it. I think it will. Now if this fixes it, then I will know the next time I come across one of these models, and if it has that issue, I will be able to repair that issue, because now I know exactly where it is. I'm pretty sure I fixed it, but I don't want to get too cocky here, because it's a possibility I may not have even fixed it. But I think due to those caps were leaking, because I could see that some of the trace was actually damaged. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the play button here. Let's see, where's my tape here? I have a tape somewhere. I'm gonna have to get a, where did I put that tape? I have a, there's one. Here we go. So here's a blank cassette, brand new. I'm gonna put it in. I'm just gonna do we're gonna fast forward it just here for just a second here. So let's just fast forward, because I don't want to get, if I'm using this tape to record with, I don't want the very beginning with something else. You know, I don't want a second of some other video. I'm gonna re-record over it, so I'm just gonna fast forward it a little bit. Alright, now we're gonna hit the reset on the counter, and if I hit the memory, I believe it will when I rewind it, it'll rewind back to it. So I'm gonna hit record now. So we're recording the, I'm just going to show like half of it, or just partial of the picture, because that way I don't get hit with a copyright. But there it is. So we're going to let it record here for, oh, probably a minute or two, probably a couple minutes, and we've got the memory set, so when I hit stop and rewind, it should go back to the 0 on the counter. So we're just going to record it here for a little while. And the hi-fi light is on. The volume meters are working. We're recording in beta 2. That's the speed that I record at, is beta 2. I very seldom ever record in beta 3. I think I got maybe one tape recorded in the beta 3 mode. This is The Mummy Returns, talking about the Scorpion King. If you've seen this film, then you know exactly what's going on. So we have half of the image there. Sorry, I guess my solder is in the way, but we're just gonna do a little recording. So I hope this works. I was able to talk to the owner, and I was talking to the owner, and I was able to convince him to spend the extra amount of money and go ahead and fix the record issue. So that's what I'm working on. That's what I was working on all day. And let me show you the, well, I can show you the capacitors that were bad. I just do all the caps here on the keyboard here, but these caps were all bad, and they were Elna. So apparently Sanyo used Elna capacitors too, because this is a Sanyo model. So if this works, then we'll be able to I'll know the next time I run into this model. So if this works, it's going to be right in there. It's this circuit board area right in here, the ones with the metal shielding. I have to put the shielding back on. So So here's the shields that they go on. So that's the area. So let's go ahead and stop it now. And I'm going to rewind it here. It should stop. Yep, stopped right at, well, not quite at 0, but pretty dang close. Okay, let's hit play. Yes! Yep, fixed it. I fixed it. Because you remember in the last video, it was recording in black and white only. So now we have, we do have a working, it'll record now too. So that's fantastic. I've got to fix one more issue. This door is not folding down like it should. Sometimes it does and sometimes it don't. So I've got to figure out why this door is not going down all the time. So I may need to take a look at that. I may need to replace that door. I don't know. But I'm going to take a look at it. So I got to pull the cassette housing back out. But let me explain a little bit more detail as to what I've done. So the area that needed to be repaired was this circuit board right here. In this area, this is where you can see the tabs where the metal shielding goes over the top of. But this is it. This section right here. These were bad. So these caps were changed. Some of these were the 6.3 volt. Some of them were a 25 volt at 2.2 and a 25 at 3.3 microfarad. So they were all changed. I had to special order the capacitors because I didn't have any. So I did that, we installed them, and now she's working. So if you've got one of these things that's not recording correctly, if it's not recording, this is where it is. See, this is exactly the area that goes bad. These caps, they all go bad. So I'm gonna have to I'll put the shielding back on it and get it all back together, and that'll be it. This thing is done. Don't think that's gonna be it. I am gonna find out. I'm gonna fix the issue with the door flap that's not opening or folding down like it should. It's really kind of stiff too. So I've been putting some contact cleaner in there to try to clean the old lubricant off, and I'm gonna have to pull the cassette housing completely out. But other than that, this thing has been repaired. There's nothing wrong. I did replace a few of the capacitors over here, and didn't make a difference. So I came over here and I seen some caps that were bad, and they were leaking. I could see it was wet, and then I was like, well, you know what? I think that's going to be the issue, and it was. So I didn't know for sure. Like we said, we tested it together because I didn't know for sure, but I was pretty sure that I was probably about 90% sure that it would correct the problem. So if you've got one of these Sanyo 7250s This is going to be your issue. I think there was another one that had that same issue. This is the 7250, but the 7200 had the same issue. And in fact, a lot of the other models, like the 6400 and the 6800 Betamaxes, the Sanyos, they have the same issue. So they also do that. So I don't. That's basically all it is. It's just leaky capacitors in this area. So I got the cassette housing issue fixed. All it was a worn out spring, and that worn out spring was causing the door flap to not open. One more quick thing I wanted to do before I send this thing back to the owners. I thought I would go ahead and check out some of the capacitors and the power supply. This one has a light blue capacitor, and those light blue caps do have a tendency of going out. They go bad. So I thought, we're already in the machine. I'm already spent 3-4 hours on this thing. I might as well just go ahead and replace the light blue cap, and that way I know that this is going to prevent it from having a failure in the future. And he's paying me good money to repair this machine, so I want to make sure that I'm doing the best job that I can do, not only repair it but keep it from having an issue further on down the road. So we're gonna do that here. So I can see there's one of the light blue capacitors. There's a bigger one. I cannot change that big one because I don't have one. So that one's probably fine. I think the only one I want to change is gonna be these little the little capacitors are gonna be the ones that I think I'll change. I think I see, is there one more on here? Yeah, I think that's the only one. That's yeah, I think it's just this one. So let's see, I think it's a 50 volt at 1 microfarad, so I have some of those. And I think, usually if the capacitor is going to have a failure, it's usually going to be the smaller capacitors. These are 105 degree 50 volt 1 microfarad capacitors. So I'm just going to go ahead and change them, but I need to discharge the power supply before I work on it. So when I come back, we'll have the capacitor changed, and then we'll put it back into the machine, and then it'll be ready to go back to the owner. And I think the owner is going to be really happy with the work that I've done. He's got a very nice machine. He'll be able to record now, not just playing back tapes, but if he wants to record a football game or something off TV, he can do that. I know that some people have those digital video recorders that record stuff onto a hard drive, and a lot of people have those, and some people have DVRs, but there are still people like me that still record off TV, like a movie or a TV show. I recorded on the tape, and this is a Super Beta machine, so you're getting 290 lines versus 240. So the Super Beta is definitely improves the picture quality. So the head amplifier has been recapped, and the picture quality on this machine is the same quality that it had when it was first bought, when it was brand new, when it was assembled on the assembly line. That's how good the picture quality is, because the head amp was recapped. So I had a couple of YouTubers, they asked me, said, how do you have all this knowledge? I said, well, it takes years to get this kind of knowledge. I was kind of a self-taught, but I also had help from my father. He would talk to me about electronics, and he would talk to me about what these certain components do, like, you know, resistors and capacitors, transistors, and all that kind of stuff. So I had a little bit of help, but mainly it was self-taught. And I read information, I watched videos, and that's how I obtained my knowledge. I was, I don't know, 10 years old when I started messing with machines, and you know, of course I'm 35 now, so it took me a long time to be able to teach myself how to fix these things. So I've installed the new belt, and it's nice and tight and snug, and same thing with the cassette housing. The belt is in there nice and snug. We're going to take a look at the picture here in just a minute. This thing is going to load slow for the first several hours of operation as far as loading the tape, because these belts are brand spanking new, and these belts are really nice and tight. So it is going to be normal for the owner to put a tape in and it take 20 seconds or so to play the movie. But we're going to go ahead and get a cassette. This was a recording of one of my favorite TV shows growing up as a kid, Perfect Strangers, which is a 80s TV show. So we have a period correct film for this thing. So let's go ahead and put this in. We'll hit play, and as you can see, it does load a little slow, but that's because the belts are super duper tight. So we got fast forward, we've got rewind, and we've got play. The head amplifier has been completely recapped, as you've seen on the last video. I did recap it. There were some capacitors over here that were bad. We've replaced those as well. Now, there's still an issue with the record, and I'm gonna go online and see if maybe I can get some kind of an idea on where the record part is at, because the board has certain areas for just for playback, and then there's other areas on the board that records the input coming in. So the fact that it records in black and white is irritating, but it's, you know, something that can be fixed. I'm gonna go ahead and talk to the customer again and ask him, is this something that you want to have repaired? Because if it is, you know, I can do that. But if he chooses to do that, his bill will go up a little bit. So I just don't see him wanting to do that. I think he's basically using these machines to transfer tapes, to playback tapes, to transfer to either a DVD or a digital file. But it does play very good. It does have a good picture quality. And again, you know, it's going to load slowly. It's actually supposed to do that. It is supposed to load that way. This tape has been, this tape is old. So this tape is getting pretty worn out. I think I've watched it so much that it's kind of worn the tape out a little bit. But this particular tape is mainly used for testing purposes now, because like I said, the tape is old and it's kind of worn out. But this thing is performing beautifully. So the next thing that I want to do is clean the mechanical parts and re-lubricate them. And I'm gonna clean the gears and put some new grease on them. We're gonna put just a little bit of grease on the loading worm gear. That gear is gonna be greased a little bit. We're gonna take up and supply reels off, and we're gonna service the reel table motor. And we'll do that now, and what we need to do is clean the post and re-oil them, and that will take care of the rest of the repairs and servicing. So that is the last thing to do, is just do some cleaning and re-lubricate moving parts, re-grease the gears and stuff. And that's going to be the last thing that we do, and then we'll put it together, and then we'll send it back to the owner. Now the one thing is, though, is like I said, I'm going to talk to the owner again and see if that's something that he would like to have fixed. Because I think that he was only wanting it to be able to play tapes. And he is one of my YouTube viewers, so he is going to be watching this video. So he's going to have something that is going to work beautifully, and it should give him a lot of use. You know, I could see this machine lasting another, 10 plus years, unless other caps fail. I think I've got all the problems fixed. I've got every issue repaired with this thing. Anyway, the big one, I just decided I had one. Why not just change it? So I changed it. So the big one I didn't need to change, but I did. These two definitely needed to be changed. So as you can see, the shiny ones, that little one and the big one there, and there was one right there. there too. So that one right there too. So we're going to put this back in and button this thing up. We'll get it all back together and get it sent out to the customer. Yep, she's all back together and working beautifully. Now, I went ahead and decided that I would just put all the capacitors and power supply that I had. The big caps I didn't have, so I left the original big caps in there, but all the other little caps have all been changed. So we've changed capacitors in the head amplifier, we've changed them on the video board, we've changed them on the power supply. So this thing is working like it did when it was first bought off the showroom floor. So this thing is working like it did when it was new. And the picture quality is outstanding. You know, for standard definition, this is pretty good. And in fact, this is a really old tape too. This is Indiana Jones on beta. So this came out back in the 80s is when this film was released on beta and VHS. So this is a beta copy, but I mean, and there's almost, you'll notice that there's no dropouts because everything is nice and sharp and crisp, clear. This thing is ready to go back to the customer. So I know that he's probably going to be watching my video, so he'll know by the time he gets done watching my videos, he'll know the kind of stuff that I did to it, and he'll understand the price. But he's looking at around $200 now. So his final bill is going to be around $200. But I think it's well worth it for the hours that I put into this thing, because I'm not even charging him the hours that I actually put in this thing. I'm only charging him 3 hours, and it took me at least 6 hours to diagnose the issues. So anyway, we'll go ahead and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. So I've changed the a couple of capacitors. The light blue capacitor was completely open. The little black capacitor was still working, but it was registered a little bit low. So I replaced it. I've also replaced this 16 volt at 1000 microfarad. And I had one, so I thought I'd just go ahead and change it.